everybody! So by now you may have seen the message or read the events forum post that said pass horses are going to be removed on your server. This isn't something new. This is something that's actually been in the works for quite a few years. It's already been live on 4 servers since 2016. Actually, it was originally 3 servers that this happened to in fall of 2016, and then the Russian server joined those ranks. I think it was in very early 2017. It was just a couple of months after that. I created an account on the Czech server. That was one of the first 3 servers that had pass horses removed back when pass horses were originally replaced. That way I could experience it for myself firsthand, and I could see the development of it, because the system that we're seeing right here that will go live at the end of the month isn't the system that these servers originally saw. It has gone through a couple of evolutions in those 2 years. So it's no secret that I'm a huge supporter of pass horses. It's the foundation upon which I built my gameplay for the last few years, and not just because of the passes that they give me. Therefore, with some of my experience already with the new system on the Czech server, and considering the benefits of working pass horse replacement with this new system isn't something I'm looking forward to. I'm going to adapt with it, regardless. I'm really glad I do have some divines that now offer me passes, but I would much prefer to keep my pass horses than get this objective system. So we're on Preprod today, where we're going to be testing the new system before it goes live. I'll go over the full details of it because we've got some extra details here that the message that you may have received on your version doesn't contain. I'll talk about some of my thoughts concerning pass horse replacement. I actually have a fairly large list of pros and cons to each system. I think that would probably take too long to cover in this video, but if you guys would like me to talk about that in another video, I can certainly do so. I think pass horses, the replacement of them, it's going to happen regardless, but I think it is very important to discuss the pros and cons of each of these systems. That way then, as we move forward, we can, improve this objective system to be a little bit better, hopefully a little bit more friendly to players who currently use pass horses. So let's check this out. We've got new daily objectives. There are now 2 daily objectives to win passes and equus. Between 1 and 15 days of seniority, the first objective will give you 2,500 equus. The second objective gives you 500. Between your 15th and 29th day of seniority, the first objective will give you 5,000 E. The second gives you 10 passes. This third one here will probably apply to most of you if you've already been on the game for a while. After your 30th day of seniority, the first objective gives you 10 passes. The second objective gives you 20 passes. If you complete your daily objectives 7 days in a row, you will obtain a Horn of Plenty, but be careful, if you miss a day, the gauge is back to 0. Note that you must have at least 9 karma to use this feature. You have received the passes you earned according to the state of your loyal player pass bar. You should see a private message telling you how many passes your progress was converted into. So just to be clear, pass horses will no longer be a thing. When you send older horses to heaven, you will no longer receive passes from them. The loyal player's pass bar is also going away. But in compensation for that, if you already had some points towards your meter, you will receive passes towards that in compensation. For example, when I logged into Preprod just a little bit ago, it told me I had received 56 passes from it. I don't know how many points that I had towards the bar, but it did give me passes in compensation for that. So don't worry if your bar isn't yet maxed out, you haven't got the pass from it, don't worry, you're going to get passes for it. Now let's move on to the divine horse Yggdrasil. You no longer receive passes and black market items when sending old horses to heaven. You can still send horses to heaven even if you don't receive passes, but you get Yggdrasil and new rankings. How it works, Yggdrasil grows old when you send a horse at least 25 years old to heaven. Also, this is when you actually get him, so in order to get him once the system goes live, you just have to send a horse that is at least 25 years old. It doesn't have to be 30 like a past horse, but it can be 30, that's fine. You'll receive him once you send an old horse to heaven. And then in order to age him, you just send a horse that's at least 25 years old or older to heaven. The older the horse is, the more he grows. So if the horse that you sent to heaven is 30 years old, he ages 30 years. If the horse is 26 years old, he ages 26 years. He can grow 10 times a day. That means you can only send old horses to heaven 10 times a day to make him grow. You must have 9 karma points to use Yggdrasil. Every time he grows old, he changes, and you obtain a gift when he evolves. Passes, but market items, aging points. We'll check that out in a minute. When Yggdrasil is 150,000 years old, that's his 12th evolution, you can decide to start his cycle again and win the gifts. More information can be found on his page. And then we have, this is just for VIPs. If you have the detail statistics perk, you can see how many horses or how many years that you've aged him up in the last month. We're not going to check that out. I don't really think that's too important. Then we have some changes to Greyfell and Pandora's Box. Pandora's Box, you can only resurrect horses that haven't been sent to heaven. Greyfell's gifts are now given when they die, not when they are sent to heaven. So just to clear up some confusion on this, currently when Greyfell dies, you send him to heaven, you get his gifts, and then you can resurrect him. With the new system, it kind of cuts out a point. As soon as he dies, you get the gifts and you immediately resurrect him. You don't send him to heaven. And if you already have some Greyfell that are in heaven, once this update goes into effect, you will receive a message. I think I read somewhere that they'll be automatically resurrected. I can't remember if you get the gifts for it. I'll have to look into that, but this just says here, you will receive a message if you have a Greyfell in heaven before these changes. We also have some new rankings. This feature means there will be new rankings, number of horses from all ages sent to heaven since the first day of the current month, number of horses aged more than 25 years since the first day of the current month, and number of horses from all ages sold to the safe haven since the first day of the current month. That sounds really confusing to read or to listen to, so we'll check out the rankings in a little bit. I'm not sure how many of you are concerned with that, but let's check out the important thing, which are the daily objectives. These are the objectives. To access them, you just go to your achievements bar, and then it's like right here at the top, and you have a big red number 2 that lets me know I have 2 objectives I have not yet completed. Okay, there's quite a few things to go over here. They're not very complicated, but to start off with, in order to get your Horn of Plenty, you have to complete both objectives every day for 7 consecutive days. If you only complete one objective, let's say I completed objective number 2, because you can do them out of order, you don't have to do objective 1 and then 2. If I just do the second objective here, I will not have completed like a consecutive day. You have to do both objectives. In order to get the passes, make sure you do your objective, come back, you'll click a blue button, works kind of like the Great Challenge, and you get your passes. You see my objectives for today are feed a Pegasus and win 2 competitions in a row using the same horse. Supposedly we're not supposed to get like remove a unicorn horn. I don't think you have to give wings. I know you don't have to remove wings, I believe is what it said. On the Czech server, I have seen apply 2-star colored tack. I've seen that objective quite a bit. I would like to see that removed because that's always an issue that pops up during the Great Challenge. But in the meantime, stock up on your 2-star colored tack just in case. I have seen an objective to apply a customization item from the black market or apply a customization item from the black market, meaning a Helios Ray, a golden apple. That's another one that I hope will be removed because I find it kind of counterproductive to use an item that's worth over 30 passes on a horse only to get 10 passes or 20 passes in return. Some objectives are pretty easy. Just apply a 2-star classical saddle to a horse, maybe place last in a couple of competitions. Pretty much all of these objectives, if you've ever played the Great Challenge, will be objectives that you've seen on the Great Challenge. So let me complete an objective. I'm not going to bother completing this second one because at least not right now, because on the test server, competitions tend to run really slowly. Let me find a Pegasus. I should have plenty down here. Let's do this one. So I have to feed a Pegasus. I think this one's kind of unfortunate for new players. It's about as difficult as having to age a pass horse or get your hands on a pass horse, really. So I want to go back to my objectives, and if you notice, I get my passes for that. So just make sure you come back to the page to get your passes. Again, I'll complete the second objective later so I can keep on track to getting that Horn of Plenty, but for now, let's check out the new rankings. We'll go to Best Breeders here because this is where the new rankings will be located. We have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. We have number of horses sent to heaven this month, number of old horses sent to heaven this month. So this first one here just includes horses of any ages, and for the second one, it's old horses, which I believe would be considered horses 25 years or older, I think. And then we have number of horses sold to the safe haven. This one, it's not one I'm going to be trying for. I'm actually not going to be trying for any of these 3. The safe haven one especially because it's just not worth it. You can only get like 400 E for just a regular non-unicorn horse or non-uni fail. Yeah, that one's just not worth it to me. So those are the objectives. Those are the new rankings. Let's check out Yggdrasil. I should have plenty of horses that are aged up here. All right, let's see what I have. This horse is 22 years and 6 months. I wonder if there are any in the sales. I think this just had to do with, darn it, I wish they had taken data from a different time point because I would have had horses that are already aged up. Give me a minute. I'm going to go in the sales, see if I can find a couple of old horses that are already aged up so we can get Yggdrasil. All right, we're back. I've got one horse here. It's 30 years old, so he's actually older than he really needs to be. Let me drain his health. We're going to send him to Heaven. This will be my first horse since to Heaven, since Preprod has activated with this new update, so I should get Yggdrasil with sending this horse to Heaven. Send him to Heaven. Oh, well, he has to die, so we can send him to Heaven. Come on, horsey. Okay, so here we go. Send this horse to Heaven to give birth to Yggdrasil. We're going to do that. I have to send him to Heaven, and I get Yggdrasil. So let's go to his page. You can rename him if you want to. Actually, this is my Yggdrasil on the Czech server. I named him Broccoli when I got him because the joke that was going around when Yggdrasil first came about was that once you see some of his older images, he kind of looks like broccoli a little bit. So I did rename mine. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with Yggdrasil yet with getting him on the live server, but this is Yggdrasil. So once he ages up to 250 years old, I will get a black orchid from him. If you click this little kind of prize box looking icon right here, it shows you all of the gifts that you get for each of his transformations. Once he hits 1,000 years old, he'll gain me 20 aging points. We do get 50 passes when he turns 15,000 years old, and then up here, once he turns 150,000 years old, I get an Hermeswing staff, and then you have the option that you can kind of resurrect him and start from the very beginning to start earning prizes again. It looks like my Yggdrasil is just a few hours old right now. I'd have to send quite a few horses to Heaven in order to get him up to 250 years, even though all the horses that I went and just bought right now, they're all 30 years old. It would take a few of them to send him to Heaven. Let me just send one more horse to Heaven so I can show you how he actually ages. So let me send this horse to Heaven. Where are the horses I just bought? Here we go. This one right here should work. So this horse is 30 years old. Now when he dies and I send him to Heaven, let's hope you will actually die on the first day. Thank you. Okay, so when I send this horse to Heaven, he's 30 years old, and it says right here, number of times Yggdrasil was aged today, 0 out of 10. That first horse that I sent to Heaven, that's how I got Yggdrasil, so I haven't actually aged him yet. And my Yggdrasil will gain 30 years by sending this horse to Heaven because this horse is 30 years and 2 months. So we're going to send him to Heaven, and then if we go back to my Yggdrasil's page right here, it will show that he is 30 years old. Yggdrasil aged 30 years because you sent an older horse to Heaven, and then he gains these tree rings because I aged him. And once he reaches his first transformation, I'll get a little photo album on his page, and you can see how he's grown. Actually, I can show you that on a different server here. This is the Czech server, so this is the little photo album. This Yggdrasil here is quite old, as you can see. This would be the max transformation, the oldest, or not the oldest, but this would be the 12th transformation he can go through, and then you get this little photo album on its page. This is cool, but it's just not really something I'm interested in. I would rather keep my pass horses personally. So that's a general overview of how you get passes from the new objective system. Just complete both objectives. If you complete the first one, you get 10 passes. You get 20 passes for the second one. If you complete both objectives every day for 7 days straight, you will get a Horn of Plenty. To get Yggdrasil, once this new update goes into effect, you have to send a horse that's at least 25 years old to Heaven. If you want to keep aging him up so he'll hit a certain age to give you a gift, just send older horses to Heaven. It's a pretty straightforward system. It's just that for me, this is not beneficial to me because I currently go for the possible 3,000 passes from pass horses, and then along with that 100 passes from your loyal players pass. So I'm going from 3,100 possible passes per month to only about 900 or 930 if there's 31 days in a month. Also, if I don't have to age up horses every day to get passes from them, I'm losing a really huge motivator to work them, which probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but my pass horses provide me with so much income from doing missions with them every day. When I looked at my detailed financial summary for the past 7 days, it said I had earned 70,000 from doing missions, and that's primarily with my pass horses. My pass farm also doubles as my aging point farm. However, that I'm not too concerned about because I have a stockpile right now of 27,000 aging points, so I'm not really going to take a huge hit there. I am quite worried if I don't do missions with them. Most of my pass horses are boarded in my own equestrian center. I have the ratio set so that they're always doing missions, therefore I'm always gaining iron resources. That way I don't have to buy iron whenever I go to craft tack or whatever items that require iron in my workshops. So when I go to sell those items, it's a pure profit as I'm not buying any iron. I'm also quite worried about what this will do to my plant horse divines. I have 4 of them. If you have a plant horse divine, you know how much they suck up your manure pile. I went from 45,000 manure before I had those divines down to 12,000 now. I haven't been working enough pass horses lately, apparently, to make up for that, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to continue fertilize them if I don't work my pass horses. So on one hand, this update is kind of to make it so you don't have to work horses every day, but it's going to hurt me if I don't. So I would just rather get the passes along with all those awesome resources. However, I think this is going to happen regardless, so I just need to kind of get past that. I need to adapt in some way and focus on ways in which we can make this new system better. My 2 biggest concerns with the system is the first one being we're going from 3,100 possible passes per month down to 900. However, I don't think this is going to be a huge priority because I'm guessing that there's only a very, very small minority of players that actually try for the full 3,000 passes from pass horses. My guess is that the majority of players lie in the don't use pass horses at all camp to only go for the 10 guaranteed passes per month. And for some of those players that just go for the 10 guaranteed, they're buying those horses every month. So they're still benefiting from this system because they're saving money by not having to buy those pass horses. It's not to say I wouldn't like to try to fight hard to make up some other ways to get passes because selling horses for passes isn't reliable. It is possible, I suppose, that now that we have this whole community of players now that are earning passes who didn't before, maybe even though we have another group of players who are losing out on those extra 2,000 passes, maybe that will balance out. I don't know. I don't think there's going to technically be more passes coming into the system just because some players are now getting passes where they didn't before. I don't know. You'd have to see the statistics for that. I'm not sure if that explanation made any sense. But anyway, moving on, my second concern is just the flexibility of this new system. You can't go back in time to do objectives that you missed. For example, today's a Wednesday. Let's say we had 2 objectives yesterday. The update was already up. There were 2 objectives yesterday. I was sick at school, work, whatever was going on, my internet shut off. I couldn't log on. I couldn't do the objectives. Those passes are lost. I can't go back in time to do them. Or if you know ahead of time that your internet's going to be off for a few days, you're going on vacation or whatever, you know you won't be able to complete objective for a week straight, you also can't go forward in time to earn up all those passes. I think what's going on with this, it's sort of to encourage players to log in every day, but I would rather not have this because to me this just makes people worry that, oh no, if I don't log in, I'm going to lose out on these passes, I'm going to fall behind. This will hurt players who rely on these free passes to keep up their VIP. I would really like that if we had these objectives, if it was just like a 1,000 possible limit for the month, that way then it would help players keep funding their VIP. If the overall limit for the month was 1,000 passes, and on whatever day of the month, you could just go ahead and do all of your objectives on a single day or 2 days, however many days you want. Do the objectives at your own pace and you can get your passes on your own time. Because to me, that's one of the biggest benefits with the pass horse system is that if you've been gone on vacation for like 3 weeks, or if you've been at work, at school, couldn't log in, no big deal. Come back to the game, age up your pass horses or go and buy some, and you've got your passes for the month. Not a big deal. With this system, you don't have that flexibility. And to me, this is my biggest worry, even more so than losing out on those extra passes. I would really like to improve the flexibility of when you can get your passes for this system. So I think that's all that I want to cover for now. I know this was probably like quite bare bones. I didn't really go into a huge a lot of detail, but I just wanted to provide enough just so that it can like soak in a little bit. That way then if you guys have any further questions for me, if there is something that you'd like me to go over in more detail, please do let me know. I can, do more videos on this to cover this. I'd like to anyway, just to kind of get a really big overall feel for how this is really going to affect us. I mean, even though I played around with this for the past 2 years on the Czech server, it's not the same as actually experiencing it on the live server. And I'm sure that once it actually goes live, like it'll be off the pre-prod server and onto the live game, it'll be even different then because I'm more actively invested in it. Also, I'm kind of curious on how many of you guys do currently use pass horses. Do you try for the full 3,000 per month? Do you just go for the first 10 that are guaranteed? Let me know. Again, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.